Bears team. Nick Foles and the offense need to take flight tonight. They are a work in progress, to put it mildly. We'll get you set for the game and recap a dramatic Week 7 in the NFL on Monday Night Countdown presented by Subway. From New York to California, we've got you covered as we count down to kickoff. Steve Young there in L.A., and we're here in the Seaport District at Pier 17, here with Booger McFarland, Hall of Famer Randy Moss, Adam Schefter. I'm Susie Kalber. And guys, we're going to start with some news off of Sunday because it was a big divisional win for the Browns, but it came at a big loss.
Odell Beckham Jr., their star wide receiver, tore his ACL. He will be out for the remainder of this season. And I think the question now becomes, will he be back in time for the start of next season? He's going to be 28 years old soon enough. At that point in time, the rehab from an injury like this, usually about a year. Sometimes they say it takes a player 2 years until he comes back to full form. And so basically you have a situation here where he's out for a year.
I'm probably going to beat myself up about that one for a long time. He's a guy that fights for this team. In doing that, he got hurt. So prayers and hopes for the best. But that one sucks.
We were in there around him during halftime, and, it was just hard seeing him, in pain. I just remember him telling me, gave me a handshake and said, "Go be great."
Incredibly disappointed for him. I know injuries are part of this game, but I just hate to see that. The energy he brings to practice, the energy he brings to games, no one else is going to be able to bring that type of juice. But the guys understand that the show must go on and what's at stake, and that guys have to step up.
So it seems like all day I'm hearing this narrative about Baker Mayfield, a better connection with other receivers, higher percentages. But Randy, in this case, is it really about the stats? Are the stats telling the whole story?
No, Susie, I think when you have a player such as OBJ's caliber, it's his presence being on the field. It's the respect that he receives being on the field by the defense. Will he draw 2? Will he draw 3? And I think in the Cleveland Browns' presence, OBJ is going to be missed tremendously in this offense. But you have to give credit when credit is due. Baker Mayfield, when he went out, 81% completion percentage and able to deliver the ball to other pass catchers out there. The Cleveland Browns going forward, and what I mean about his physical presence being on the field book, there's teams now are going to be able to stack the box against that run and make other pass catchers like Jarvis Landry, Higgins, guys like that, they only become number ones. Those guys are going to have to step up in OBJ's absence. You talked about Baker playing a little better when Odell went out. I think his presence will be missed, but for Baker Mayfield now, when the play's called in his mind, Baker Mayfield doesn't have to think, man, where's OBJ going to be? I have to get the ball to OBJ. Baker can now process the play, look at the defense, and just play football. I think that's why you saw Baker Mayfield have a day. 22 for 28, 297, 5 touchdowns. He only had 6 incompletions on the day. He was very efficient. Losing OBJ doesn't make them a better team. Let's get that straight. You don't become better losing good players. But maybe, just maybe, it allows the quarterback to play a little bit more freer. And just last week, everyone was crushing Baker Mayfield about, can Baker Mayfield get it done? What's happening? I think right now what you saw this yesterday, Baker was relaxed. He went through his reads, and he just distributed the football, and that's what you want from the quarterback.
And other guys made plays. And when Kevin Stefanski got hired from Minnesota to Cleveland, he was hired because also the run game he was bringing. And so now they will continue to run the football. They'll get Nick Chubb back at some point in time. They have Kareem Hunt. They're going to run the football, I think.
Steve, give us the quarterback's perspective on this.
Well, I love it. Boog thinks that, we lose Odell Beckham and things get better. But I do get your point, Boog. I get that, but you hate to miss him. I think more than anything, there's a superstructure that's been built very quickly by Kevin Stefanski. For the first time in a couple of generations, I feel like just after 12 padded practices and 6 ball games, this is a Browns team that's going to get better and substantively better. Not going to be so mercurial, up and down, big expectation, big flops. And I think that's going to help the quarterback. And what it does is it sets the foundation so now we can put the focus truly on Baker. And Baker needs to be less reckless, less feeling like he has to go win everything and I can do it all. You can't. And I think he's got to find that fine line. Yesterday, great. Week before, not so great. Typical of a young player. But I think the foundation being built now allows him to feel that direct focus and say, I now need to play better. I need to be more substantive. I need to make sure that I don't, go recklessly around throwing the ball over the field and make sure that I do things to help us win football games.
Yeah, Stephen, I think you make a great point. They're not going to be a better team without OBJ, but the quarterback can play better. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. The Cleveland Browns
I agree
are
with you.
five. Right. The Cleveland Browns are 5-2. They've beaten the teams that they should beat. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they got embarrassed on the field.
Yes.
So when the Browns go against a good football team, can this Baker Mayfield show up? To me, that's the biggest difference between the guy we saw yesterday and the guy we saw against Pittsburgh. When can we see that guy in a big game, Susie, Randy, Adam, against some of the better teams in the league?
Adam, real quick before we move on, what do you think his future is? He's been hurt a lot.
Listen, he's going to be 28 years old, so you have to figure he comes back at that point in time, 29. You wonder if he can get back to be the great receiver that he was. Look at all the injuries that he's had through the course of his career. He's missed a lot of time. Take a look at all the injuries. Torn ACL this year, the quad injury last year, the fractured ankle in 2017, the hamstring. He's going to miss the rest of this year. It's a lot of time missed. It's a lot of toll on the body, and everybody wants to see him get back at full strength. But, again, he's getting older, not younger.
He's missed 25 out of the last 64 games. All right, so we know that the AFC North is going to be a battle to the end. But let's talk about which teams maybe we think are the most complete in total after 7 weeks. In the battle of undefeateds, Pittsburgh took a 27-7 lead, targeting the likes of Juju Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson, who had 2 touchdowns.